Just let me say thank you so much. Because since the first time we had the conversation, everything was different for me. And I was so humbled after listening to you that I really need that best. So thank you so much. I think you made a huge difference.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Hanging Out with Successful Bar Takers, and we've got a great story today. We have a student who passed the Florida bar exam, and I think it was on his fourth or fifth try, and we're really excited. Gustavo, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jackson.
And am I correct about that number of attempts? Was it 4 or 5 attempts before
Yes, it was 5. Yeah, I think it was the 5th one. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, anyone that's listening will hear that you've got a little bit of an accent. So I know you weren't born and raised in the US. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your background?
Yeah, actually, when I started my JD, my English was pretty bad. So it was a process for me, not just improving my English, but also the writing part. So the writing part was the toughest part for me. And I think it's the toughest part for most of the foreign students who are taking the bar, or foreign lawyers who are taking the bar.
Yeah, you're from Ecuador, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I was born in Ecuador. Yeah.
And you did a JD LLM in the US?
Yeah, I'm a lawyer in Ecuador. I'm a lawyer of the Republic of Ecuador. And then I came to the United States in 2006, and I started a JD. At first, then when I finished the LLM, I transferred to the JD.
Yeah.
So it was super fast. Actually, it was faster than most of American students do it, because I did it just in 2 years. So it was super fast. I didn't have the opportunity to have all the laws especially from Florida. It was just mostly a federal law, some of the basic laws that you need in order to graduate from the JD.
Yeah. And so for those of you that are wondering, how can someone that's foreign trained sit for the Florida exam? The rules have changed a little bit, but what Gustavo had to do was to actually get a JD in the US, right, in order to qualify back then for the exam.
Yes, Florida requires a JD, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a challenge to do that. And when English is not your first language, that makes it really hard. And so it's not surprising that even a smart individual who's working hard will have multiple tries at this exam. But you went through several attempts and you managed to get through the multi-state. Part B is what they call it in Florida, but you still hadn't passed Part A. Am I correct?
That's correct. And actually, the MBE was easier for me because it was multiple choice. So I passed that at the beginning. However, my Part A of the exam, I had, as you said before, multiple attempts, even though I was super close. I was from 1 point, I think my worst one was 132, and in Florida we need 136, was something like that. So I always was like, maybe one question, maybe something else. So I never knew what happened, but I never had the, I thought I will do it. I will be able to do it by myself, and I didn't want to recognize that I need that extra help. So when I did that, is when I found a celebration, and I'm super happy that I did it and I passed.
Yeah, you passed comfortably, and I think that's something to keep in mind. And a lot of people ask me, does it make sense if you pass one part of the exam to just put that away and just focus on the other? And that's what you did. You didn't try to retake the multi-state. You just focused on Florida, correct?
Yeah, because I have a very high also in my MBE, I also have a very high
scaled score. And so some people say you should go take it again and use that score. But in fact, our philosophy is just the opposite. Take that score, put it away, go focus your time on the part that you still need to take. And that's what you did. You came to us for your Florida only preparation. What was different about studying with us than what you had done previously?
It was a lot of differences. The first one was the way I was approaching the exam. So I think that was my first biggest step. The second one was the issue spotting thing. I will spend maybe 10, 15 minutes just issue spotting. So I wouldn't be comfortable unless I have at least 8 or 10 issues that I spotted. And then just starting to write the black law. And I never have the right time to do what I was supposed to do. So that was the reason I wasn't doing the whole exam, just part of the exam. So that was the reason, I guess, I was always missing for a few points.
And the third part, let me stop you there for just a minute. I want to make sure our audience follows. What we teach is not issue spotting. It's the opposite. It's going right at the disputes and writing about it. So that helped your timing. Am I correct?
Yeah, that was my third point, actually. So when I start applying your techniques, no issue spotting, but go to the core of the question and just organizing the answer in a way that you will cover what they are really asking you, not all the issues about what they are really asking you, but just what they are really asking you, it was super different because I will be able just to have 2 points of view of the same in the same problem and then get to a conclusion. I also organized the answers in the way you teach. So I think it was much easier for the person who was reading my answers to go through all the issues that they need, to cover in order to grade my exam.
Yeah.
So I think that made a huge difference. So what's the 3 things?
Yeah. I think one of the other things that happens, particularly when you're trying to write in a language that's not your native language, is by keeping the format shorter and more concise, it meant that there was less opportunity for confusion and error. You're just writing direct, simple sentences.
Yeah, I was going right to the point, and I knew that I shouldn't extend too much in the points that I was trying to make. So before, because in Spanish, we tend to write a lot, just to say one little thing is not like, that's one of the beautiful things about English writing, that you are very precise. In Spanish, we tend to just to write a lot just to say one thing. So I guess your technique taught me to do that, specific in the exam. So before, I think I was taking exam just for law school. Now, for the first time, I was taking an exam for the bar. So I think that's also huge different, the change of your set of mind. So that helped me a lot.
Yeah. The other part of the Florida day of the exam, for those of you that don't know, is that there are multiple choice questions that are built on Florida law, and they're not very well written. They're short questions that don't give you quite enough information. What was that like preparing for that part of the test?
The thing is, for me, since the first time I took the exam, I always, in the 4 times or 5 times I took the exam, always was between 55 and 60 answers correct. And that has been my average in all the exams. I don't know in this one, because when you pass the exam, they don't give you the exam grades in each one of the questions. So I don't know, but I'm hoping that I did the same thing. But you're absolutely right. One of the hard things about the multiple choices in the Florida part is sometimes the questions are so strange and so difficult to understand that you just have to take the best guess. And I guess it takes to be also a little lucky in the exam.
Yeah, a little bit luck helps, but you did better than luck. So
because I tried, and believe me, I did prepare myself a lot. Things were so difficult not to follow and not to be involved that will take time away from my preparation. But anyway, I just followed all the schedules you have for me very precisely. I was very strict with myself. So even though if I didn't have time during the day, I will do it at night, but I will do exactly what the schedule was.
Yeah. And how many hours on a weekly basis would you say you were studying?
Maybe it will take me around 5 hours a day. Yes, at the beginning, I remember when I spoke to you, you said, listen, you don't need more because you will get tired. And yes, I was absolutely tired. After the first exam, you think I already did it. I already read so much. I don't think I need to read more, but actually you have to read the parts that are more important. And I think you make a very good job just making sure the most important issues in each one of the subjects. So I think that helped me a lot. And also I didn't waste as much time as I wasted before.
Okay. And did you write a lot of practice essay exams in preparation for the test?
Yes, more than ever. This time I was like, I have to write, and I have to write. So I think that helped me also to keep in my memory a lot of things that won't fade away because you just pass to another subject. So what I actually did was just making sure in every subject of the exam, doing 20, 25, 30 essays just in that subject. So I think that helped me to cover most of the issues they have already asked in past exam. Yeah.
That's great. You took what we call our basic course, which means that it's the course where we don't directly engage with you on your writing or some of these other things. And people sometimes ask, is that enough to pass the exam? The answer is obviously yes. Did you find there was enough guidance and direction in the course so that you knew what you were supposed to do?
For me, yes. For me, it was perfect. Maybe, as I told you before, maybe because I already took the exam so many times, and I guess I was prepared and I knew how the exam was. The thing that was super different from me is my approach to the exam. So As I told you also before, since the first time we have a conversation, I was like, okay, I'm gonna pass the exam because this is such a different approach that I have before. So yes, I think if people already take the exam before, the basic is enough unless you want a little bit more help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think it's important that people see that you don't have to spend a lot of money. If you put in the effort, we're going to show you step by step what you need to do. This was also a different exam in that you went to Tampa and you were there in person. What was that like?
Actually, I think I enjoy it much. I like it better. I think the adrenaline that you have when you have all these people on the line and waiting and all that stuff, it gives you a little bit more of, I don't know, the vibe is different. So yes, because when I took it at home just by myself, I was so worried that the internet won't work, that somebody will make some noise, so I have and 2 times I actually have a problem getting into the exam because the password didn't work. So I have to make the call. It took some time. So for me, it wasn't the best experience. Actually, I do like better the idea to take the exam in person.
Yeah. And a lot of people sitting in the room. And I think if you I like the idea of the adrenaline and the sense that there's something special going on that day. So there's a good part to that for sure. When the exam was over this time, before the results came out, how did you feel? What was your sense afterward?
My first time that I wasn't questioning myself about the answer. Yeah, so I think I was overwhelmed by how safe I felt. For some reason, I knew this time I passed it. The times before, I was always, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I answer that? Maybe I could do something a little bit better in here. I didn't finish in this. So I always was questioning myself. This time, I wasn't. I just didn't know if I would just make it what I need to do, or maybe just extra points or something like that. But I was at least what I told my friends and I told my family that always been so supportive is, listen, if I didn't make it for the first time, I would say I'm absolutely proud of what I did in this exam. Even though before I also felt proud because the process is so difficult, so hard, it takes so much from you. Just sitting in the exam, I think you are already champ. However, failing and passing the exam is a different feeling.
Yeah, it is. So let's talk about that. The results came out and they come out online and everyone scrambles to get them. What was that like when you saw your results?
Actually, I wasn't prepared. For some reason, I also have in my mind trying to deny the results. I was driving and I got this message from the Florida bar, the results are in. So in the first minute I have a chance to park, I parked and I went into the results and I just started yelling. I called my family and everybody was yelling. So believe me, it was a beautiful moment for me.
Yeah. So you're studying, you're working, you have a family, there's a lot going on in your life. Was there ever a point during this process when you said, maybe it's just not worth it, I should just quit and give up?
No, it's horrible that I have to say that, but I'm not a quitter. I've always been I never think that you have to end something that you started without at least trying to finish it in the best way. And you also need your family, you need the support, you need support around you. And I did have that support, even though, yes, it was super difficult. And some people would say, okay, you don't need another, because I already have several degrees. You just don't need that. You can find a job in whatever thing you want, which is not true, believe me. However, I was very resilient. I've always been very resilient. I think people need to be resilient and have some hope in themselves. Don't quit, please.
That's the message I want people to hear is don't ever quit, because it's worth it, isn't it, when you get that result?
Absolutely, it's worth it. Yeah, it's just the feeling is just amazing. It's not that you feel smarter, but you feel you belong. And that sometimes is a very difficult thing to feel, that you belong to something. And I knew that I tried so hard. I knew that I prepared myself so hard. I knew that I was taking the time, doing all that I was supposed to do. And just not belonging in that group, it was hard. It's hard to take. So just don't quit. Just give yourself a little more opportunity. Maybe sometimes just be humble enough to realize that to understand you need help. And when you do that, believe me, the success is just next door.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you and proud of your accomplishment and what you've done. I'm really grateful that you chose Celebration Bar Review. Was there something about the course that made it stand out to you after those other attempts with others?
Yeah, because when I read about you at the beginning, you say, listen, we have a different approach. And I knew I needed a different approach. Now I was sure a different approach. So I also like that you don't like people to be making just memory of all the things that they read and just repeating and just having in their head. Not that young, as a lot of the exam takers who can't do that. When you get older, you have so many issues and you have so many problems and so many things around you that you just can't memorize everything you read, especially when you have to read so much material, so different issues and so different laws and so different subjects. So it is hard. So I really like that part. Right. Yeah, when you say, no, you don't need to memorize everything. No, don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when we say that, people look at us skeptically, but in fact, when you repeat and when you follow the course like Gustavo did and do it step by step and put in the practice and the hours, then in fact, you do get that result. And so first time studying with us and passing is a great accomplishment. It was a very low pass rate overall in Florida. So it must make you feel very proud of what you did in those circumstances.
Yeah. I'm always, because I do, and I know a lot of people who also took the exam and didn't pass the exam. Sometimes when you're happy, you need people around you, also your friends, your classmates, to be also happy. Yeah, I was sad for them because they didn't do it, but I was absolutely, I have also my moment, and I thought I need to enjoy myself, enjoy my family, and finally just take 1 week or 2 weeks off of all this thing and just forget about everything. So I went on a cruise.
That's great.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what you need to do. Yeah.
Nice. And I know you've referred some of those friends and colleagues to us. We appreciate that very much. And I think that what people don't understand sometimes is that there's no magic to the test, but there is a system that you can follow and an approach. And that idea, as you were saying, of doing something different becomes really important. There's a point at which just doing the same thing when you're not getting the passing result isn't going to work for you, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah. Especially, I told you I was missing very few points to pass exam. But those few points, I think, are harder because you are like, what I'm doing wrong? What I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing wrong. So you try the same thing and just read a little bit more, and spotting more issues, which takes more time and doesn't get you to the right answers. Yeah.
Congratulations again, and a wonderful accomplishment. So pleased that you would share your story with our audience. I know there are going to be a lot of people that are inspired by this who have thought, maybe I can't pass because English isn't my first language, or I wasn't trained in the US originally, but it can be done, can it?
Yeah, it definitely can. Yeah.
That's great. Gustavo, again, welcome to the Florida Bar. Congratulations. We're so glad to have you with us and look forward to seeing what you do now as a member of the bar here in Florida. That'll be exciting, and just thrilled that we could share this story with you.
Thank you, Jackson. I really appreciate it. And I thank you once again.
My pleasure. And with that, folks, we're going to sign off. We'll see you again next time. And thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.